Hey everyone, and welcome or welcome back to the channel. Today I was thinking to do like a crossover video. I like to blend techniques. Actually, not really blend. I like to synthesize and squeeze the best juice out of astrology, card reading, and human design. So today I was thinking to look at the chart of a famous astrologer, a famous evolutionary astrologer, Jeffrey Wolf Green, but look at it through the human design perspective and try to see why he was so fascinated with these collective planets, especially Pluto. Of course, Jeffrey Wolf Green wrote about evolutionary astrology, not only these so-called transpersonal planets, but he did write specific books about Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. If you do a simple Google search for Jeffrey Wolf Green, the thing that he's most known for is this book, Pluto, The Evolutionary Journey of the Soul, Volume 1. So let's take a look at Jeffrey Wolf Green chart and see how we can relate this thirst for collective knowledge, this thirst for sharing the collective knowledge, and especially let's check out his Pluto placement in his human design. But we're going to do that inside because it's getting darker and windier. See you soon. So here we are. This is a chart of Jeffrey Wolf Green. And of course, he's a 5-1 splenic projector. I say he's a 5-1 because we look at the conscious sun and earth and we see after the point we have 5. So that's his conscious profile line. And then his unconscious profile line is 1. So he's the heretic investigator. This is what the 5-1 is called. The 5 is the heretic, the universalizing line, like bringing things to the collective. And 1 is focusing your knowledge on something, on that one thing, investigating, trying to do your best to be perfect with that knowledge that you have. That's the energy of the 1 in a profile. And why is he a splenic projector? Well, because you see his sacral is white, which means it's open, which means he's not a generator. His throat is defined, but he's not a manifester because the throat is not connected to a motor center, meaning to the solar plexus or to the sacral or to the root via the spleen. So that makes him a splenic projector. That's his authority, being that these two centers are open. It's really interesting that he's a splenic projector. He can have like a very focused, very specialized view of something, and then he can also share that with the world. The projectors are, of course, the teachers, the guides. They can see, they have the ability, if they're living their best life, they have the capacity to be amazing teachers and to be recognized for their wisdom. And because he's a projector and he doesn't have much definition, he only has 3 defined centers. We're gonna focus on the channels that are defined in his chart. And you can see that he only has 2 defined channels. The channel that's connecting the throat to the identity, to the G center, with gate 31 to gate 7. And the other channel defined is the 16 gate to the 48. And this is connecting the throat to the spleen. So it's amazing because being a splenic projector, he also had the capacity to verbalize whatever was that he was having insights on. A splenic projector means that once he was invited to share his knowledge on something, he could do so immediately because the spleen in human design is the voice that talks to you very softly. It only says things once, so you have to listen to it. So the insights that he had, he really had to act on them immediately. And what I find fascinating is that he was very preoccupied with the collective. He was one of the founders of evolutionary astrology, very fascinated with the transpersonal planets, with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And he is mostly remembered, he's mostly in the collective consciousness through that energy of Pluto and his books on Pluto, especially the first volume. So look at his two channels that he have. They are two so-called collective channels. They have to do with collective consciousness. The 16th is the enthusiasm. He has his conscious earth there. And then the 48th is the depth. So he has the enthusiasm to speak his knowledge, and he also has the depth of that knowledge. It's an amazing line to have, an amazing collective line. And then he also has this other collective line, the 31-7. So the 31 is a so-called projected gate. Besides the fact that he's a projector, he also has this projected gate here that he is recognized as a leader, he's recognized as a ruler, but he can't take it forcefully. He has to wait for people to say, oh yeah, you can tell us this, you can lead us here, just lead us with your knowledge. And then he gets the success and the recognition. So by looking at his life, it looks like he really made the most of his human design, even if he was not aware of his human design, because these two collective lines are very important in universalizing knowledge. He also has the 5 line here in the 16. What's grounding him is enthusiasm. So this 31-7, that is one of his two defined channels. What's interesting about it, besides that it's a collective channel, besides that is the channel of the alpha, of the design of leadership, is that it also has this 7 gate, the gate of the role of the self. And what do we find in the 7 gate? We find Pluto. Isn't it interesting that the direction he gave to the world, he really made an impact with his teachings on Pluto? If we look at where his unconscious Pluto was, we see that it was in gate 33. And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I did a video on the gates of aloneness, and the 33 is part of one of these gates, so-called gates of aloneness. So this is the gate of remembering ancient collective knowledge in order to share. This is a logical channel, this is an abstract channel. In this 33, this gate 33 is also part of an abstract channel. It's related with librarians, historians, people who come to share their knowledge, but they also require some aloneness in order to reflect and recollect and collect their knowledge. So isn't that fascinating that his unconscious Pluto is there in gate 33, line 5. This 33rd gate is the storing of cultural memory. And because it's the gate 33-5, it has a lot to do with timing. Pluto has a special affinity to this gate 33. Ra says, as important as the timing itself is the ability to keep secret one's intentions until the appropriate moment. The last thing I'm going to mention about this chart, we can look at it all day and all night, but I just wanted to look at it in the perspective of Pluto and of the collective channels. Like, his only definition is in the collective channels. So he was here for the collective. He was not here for himself. Partly he was here for himself. He has some gates that are individual. He has some gates that are tribal, like the 50, but where the channels are, that's where the energy flows more consistently, where the life force flows more consistently. And his life force was super consistent for the collective level. Okay, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this synthesis, this crossover between astrology and human design. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it interesting. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell, because otherwise you don't get notified when I post new videos. So I'll see you again soon. Bye.